your journey from paycheck. Welcome to the next stop on your journey from paycheck to pension. If you're ready to take your finances to the next level, you're in the right place. It's time to take control of your future, starting now, and we're doing it live. Hi, we're the Stidhams, and our goal is to help you get self-directed. It's the tax-free income that will shape your legacy. It's wealth, time, and the freedom you deserve. What you're about to learn will enable you to make confident and strategic moves. It means gaining complete control to invest in what you want when you want. We've helped thousands of people just like you. And if they can do it, you can too. So we hope you're ready, because it's about time that your money started working for you. And we're so excited that you chose us to show you how.
Starting right now.
Hey, welcome back to our channel. We're going to change the time back. So let's get that out of the way. Why do I look like I'm wearing a neck brace? This was supposed to be a fashion situation.
I don't think it looks like a neck brace.
If I move like that, it does. Golly, get in here, you guys. Tonight, we're going to talk about something that we get asked all the time. Like, what happens if I can't get approved for SKIA, the specific ones that you guys talk about here, and what happens if I want to be able to leverage my employer plan, my traditional retirement funds, but I don't want to jump into real estate or take control in that way. Like, I really need some help, and I really would like a set it and forget it type of situation. We're going to talk about that because that is precisely one of the reasons why annuities are trending right now. I think you've seen them everywhere. I think you've seen a lot of content being done on them, and it's because there's more people talking about them, and there is a reason why. They do fit into the program. They fit into a lot of people's portfolio, but who they're best for is why you need to tune in tonight. So get in here. Call your friends in. If they are looking for annuities or they've been talking about them, what the heck are they? Who knows? We're going to get into it. Donnell's going to tell us all about them.
Yeah, this is a path that we're going to continue down as we kind of move into the new year. But I just wanted to kind of kick off or end 2023 with an introduction as to what that might look like. Bottom line is there are some really great annuities out there. There's some really bad annuities out there too. But bottom line is just kind of understanding what are they, how do they function, what makes it a good investment or a good place to save money. You know, should I do this or that versus should I do this and that? You know, just kind of talking through some of that, and it kind of speaks to. Again, I like to build these off of conversations that I've had this week, and I've had a few different conversations related to annuities or just what can I do with my money? Where should I put it? What are some of those options? So we'll kind of talk through some of that. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time, I'll call it talking through the comparison. I think we'll do that at a later date, but I do want to just define or kind of talk through what it looks like, what an annuity looks like, what it means, where to come from, all that kind of good stuff. So we'll see how it goes.
Because a lot of people are in that, is it this or that, right? And that's why I think it's really important to understand what your options are, because it's not one size fits all. We say that all the time, but understanding how to pivot and what's available to you, I think maybe it's not even you. Maybe it's someone that you know and they're going, I don't know what to do, or they happen to mention this thing, but you are armed with the information because you tune in. And now you have the power to help and influence someone else. So maybe even if this isn't for you, this could be for someone you love. And that's really the each one teach one, right? We all got to pull people in and say, hey, you can learn about this. You can do this. Maybe this is you're about to have a conversation or go into a conversation about annuities, and now you'll have some questions to be able to arm yourself with some questions to be able to ask in that conversation. I think a lot of the times we walk into these conversations with experts in their field, hoping that they will just be experts in their field, and we don't have to go learn what they know in order to verify that they're doing their job, right? It's very frustrating to be in that type of position. And so at least we know that we can arm you guys with questions to ask with whoever it is that you're working with or talking to. It might be your HR department. Who knows? Okay, let's just get this out of the way. Is this giving dog collar? Is this not a fashion? I I can't stop looking at it.
There's only one person distracted. Just so
No, that's not true. Probably somebody else is watching and they're like, "Girl, what are you doing with this outfit?" Okay, point is, let's address some questions. We've got some up here. Um, April says, "What do you mean change the time back?" April, we're going back to 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time because it seems like we did a poll. It seems like that works out best for everyone. So, for the majority of
majority.
people, yeah, the majority, not everyone, but the majority. So that's why we're going to do that. Okay, so now that we've got that little housekeeping out of the way, um, yeah, so let's do that. Hold on. Wanted to let everyone know they are releasing a movie soon about the story of the Olympic team. Will it make the boat go faster? That's exciting. Love that.
I want my royalties.
Man, well, we can't. It's not our story. But we can definitely all appreciate that.
We'll be making it a movie. It's only because of us.
Yeah, right. Okay. That I meant laughter, not applause. Thank you, Miss AB. We love it when you tune in. We have some really great people who tune into our channel, and you guys ask amazing questions. So we encourage everyone to ask questions. Get in here if you are new to tuning in to us live here, or you're watching the replay. Kind of. We get inundated with questions sometimes outside of that, but I'm going to show you real quick. If you're watching us on the TV, this is how you ask questions. So while he goes on with the information, just head on over, take a picture. No, don't take the picture. Use your picture feature on your phone. Do the
Camera.
camera. Potato, potato. Okay. All right, let's get into it. Donnell, what do you got for us? What kind of walk us through so that they know what to expect out of this live stream?
Yeah. So the objective was, well, I'll frame it in terms of the conversations that I've been having.
Okay.
So this particular example is one of the probably 3 or 4 different conversations I had around, hey, I've got this money. I want to know what to do with it. And I've got some conditions, meaning I want to be able to take action or control or invest or whatever those rules were. Hey, what are some ideas? What can I do? And again, there are many ways to 10, right? So this is just one, I'll call it, aspect of how this money could be used. For some of my veterans out there who have watched us go through examples multiple times, you might have some ideas, or you maybe question some of the ideas that I share here, because I would bet you may identify some that could actually help this money grow faster. But again, this is just one piece, one aspect, one I'll call it example around. Um, I kind of grouped the 3 or 4 conversations that I have this week into this one example. So this example is a hybrid. This isn't one particular client; it's a hybrid of a few of the conversations that I've had, but I think it fits. So,
Perfect. Well,
all
I'm
right,
looking forward to it. You want the full vibe board? What would you
sure.
like?
Full vibe is
Full,
fine.
full,
I don't know
full.
that I'll spend a whole lot of time on the calculator, so full vibe is fine.
Okay, well, let's get into it.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got Michael. His goal, his objective is to use some of those IRA funds he has. He's got about $200,000 in an IRA. These were funds that were moved from a previous employer's plan. So he's 45 years of age. He makes about $100,000 a year. And here's what we know. And you can do this yourself if you're watching. You can kind of go along with us. If you were to put $200,000 into the Vanguard calculator, what would it produce in income for the next 20 years? And it's right around that 49,000, maybe 47 on, depending on the calculator you use or what the criteria is you put in. But the bottom line is, if he continues down the path that he's on with this IRA, he's destined for somewhere around 49,000 in income on an annual basis. So the question is, can we beat that? And not only that, he had some other criteria that he wanted to make sure we meet. One was, I want to know options for my IRA. I want to focus on generational wealth, and he's got some other rules. Is kind of how I labeled it. It was he wants that he wants control. So the bottom line is, hey, I've got this $200,000 in my IRA. Is there a way that I can have more control over those dollars and put them to work? Um, in addition, he wants to be able to invest in non-traditional investments,
And what are non-traditional investments?
meaning, say that.
Yeah, what are non-traditional
Oh,
investments?
we'll get there. Be patient.
Okay.
So the objective is to invest in non-traditional investments, and ultimately meaning, hey, my current IRA, 401k, 403b, TSP is invested in these mutual funds, stocks, and bonds. Is there a way to move those dollars out of those type of accounts and move them somewhere else that where I could have again more control? And we'll dig into what non-traditional means. What are some of those investments? And the other piece is um, security. He's looking to have a little bit more security around the money that he has. And I think, as my wife likes to say often, and that is get his money out of the casino. So not only just have more control and do some of the other actions that we kind of already listed, it's also I want to make sure that, hey, the money that I have, I don't lose, or there's not this recovery period that I need to be concerned with. And then the last one, and this happens a lot actually, he was watching this video and he goes, hey, I want to be able to take advantage of some of those self storage opportunities that I hear you guys talk about all the time. And if you kind of look at that list, the generational wealth along with a control and security and self storage, like they don't all say the same thing, meaning it's not one vehicle that can check all of those boxes. So the thought process is his main question to me was, what would Donnell do? What is there some actions that I could take to be able to put this money to work and help it grow? So I said, okay, I wanted to start here with you guys and just kind of reiterate what it is we do. So, as it relates to the five things we traditionally talk about, there's velocity banking, which is a strategy. There's
Mhm.
first position HELOC. It's using a debt tool to implement a strategy. And then it's infinite banking. It's leveraging cash value life insurance policies to be able to do a strategy. Bottom line is these three pieces aren't necessarily actions that we can take with this $200,000 to be able to give him more control, put his money in a position to where it could be able to invest in self storage. Because again, these are strategies. But as it relates to a self directed IRA, a 401k, and a secure compound interest account, these are absolutely two of the vehicles that we discuss that would allow him to put his money in position to be able to work for him. And as we talk about again, just simply self directed IRA or 401k, I just wanted to reiterate what I mean when I say that. It's putting him in a position to where he could have more control over his IRA dollars. And maybe that might mean instead of an actual IRA, we actually move those IRA dollars into a self-directed 401k to give him full checkbook control. And again, control being the objective, getting self-directed, having full checkbook control over his over his 401k dollars to be able to invest in what he wants. Because again, he wants to be able to take advantage of those non-traditional investments. And as requested, what are non-traditional investments? Well, this is not an exhaustive list. This is actually a pretty short list when you think about it. But the bottom line is it's being able to get your money out of the market to be able to invest in what you want when you want, to include real estate, land, subject twos, crypto, self-storage, precious metals. I mean, again, this list is not exhaustive. Matter of fact, it would be much easier for me to share with you what you cannot invest in if you had a self-directed retirement account versus what you can. But I'm not going to, again, the objective for today isn't necessarily to dig into uh, the aspect of IRAs, 401ks, and how you can leverage a self-directed retirement account. Again, his question was, hey, what would you do? How would you use this money? And are there multiple ways of going about it? And
Yeah.
so short of it is that 200,000, yes, we can absolutely move that 200,000 into a self-directed 401k. But he is 45, which means he's not old, but he is running out of compound cycles, and 200,000 is what he has available right now in retirement. So how do we continue being that vehicle, building a vehicle, or contributing to a vehicle that will help him produce the generational wealth that he asked for? And as it relates to security, putting his money in a position to where it's a bit more secure, and that's where a secure compound interest account comes into play. So 45 years of age, makes $100,000 a year. So we will absolutely address using an MPI plan. We will absolutely open up a self-directed 401k. And one other piece I wanted to highlight, which is what we're going to introduce here, is what about an annuity? And okay, so where does an annuity come into play? Again, he's got $200,000 in sitting in an IRA, and annuities can receive qualified dollars. So an annuity is an option. Again, it's just an option. Doesn't have to be the end all be all. Doesn't have to be the only, but it is an option in this process as well. So what I wanted to highlight today was use of a self-directed 401k, uses of an MPI plan, and also use of an annuity to help grow this gentleman's dollars to the max. And just to kind of restate some of the things that I've stated often as it relates to building a secure compound interest account or generating wealth or creating wealth. There's two different equations that I like to focus on. One, we get bombarded with investment opportunities, meaning putting our money in a position to where um, the performance is solely based off how the market does, and if the market crashes, we crash, and when the market recovers, we start to recover. But the bottom line is, a lot of the opportunities that you are bombarded with are all investment related opportunities compared to secure compound interest building, which the difference between these two pictures is simply risk. It's this variable. If you're able to eliminate and or reduce risk, you can actually produce more income. And again, pay yourself first today, put your money somewhere secure, compound your money, and then exponentially grow it. If you can put your money in a position to where all of these variables are working for you, you can do an amazing job. So how does that relate to an annuity? How does that fit into this equation? So I just wanted to kind of highlight a few definitions, or at least a definition of an annuity. What is it? So traditionally, an annuity is just a tax deferred vehicle that insurance companies can provide guaranteed income. I think the piece that I want to make sure is clear here is not all annuities are the same. There are thousands, and I do mean thousands of annuities. And there are hundreds of companies that offer these thousands of annuities. So, how do you pick? How do you choose? How do you make sure you understand which is the right one? And in addition, it can be, again, it's traditionally an annuity is funded with tax deferred dollars, meaning if they're tax deferred going into an annuity, coming out of the annuity, you're going to have to pay taxes on that dollar. However, you can also fund an annuity with post-tax dollars. So if the dollars go in as Roth, the dollars will come out as Roth. So you have that option as well. So bottom line is an annuity is just another type of qualified account. So just like an IRA, 401k, 403b, TSP, government 457 plan, an annuity can function the same way. But you can also fund an annuity with non-qualified dollars. So it's a vehicle that is pretty diverse. And it is offered by insurance companies, which is what allows us to be able to. And what's so awesome about that is traditionally when we talk about moving money from a qualified account into another qualified account, usually my response is, hey, if it's a life insurance based vehicle, you can't do that. But annuities are one of the few vehicles which will allow you to transfer qualified dollars into it, and it's maintain its qualified or its tax deferred or its tax privilege status. There's many different types of annuities, and it kind of as it's listed there. There's variable index, fixed index, single premium, immediate annuities. They call them SPIAs, and multi-year guaranteed annuities. We're not going to dig into all of the different types. The piece I wanted to highlight though is this indexed or fixed indexed annuity, and all of them kind of function in this spectrum, meaning there are different types. You've got annuities that are focused on growth. You've got annuities that are focused on income. And then you've got annuities that are somewhere in the middle. And what I wanted to talk through is how do you know which one fits you? And for this gentleman who's 45, makes $100,000 a year, has $200,000 of inside of his IRA, and he's looking to do something with that IRA, which would fit him? Is it a growth annuity? Is it an immediate income annuity? Or is it something in the middle? Is the question. Well, to kind of answer that question, I wanted to come back here.
Well, I think we all would answer that question with what's the goal?
Right. It absolutely. I mean, and I think throughout this, it's really peeling back the layers to understand, and that's why I kind of laid out the rules up front. He wants to be able to have control over his
Hmm.
retirement dollars. He wants to be able to invest in non-traditional investments. He's looking for security, and he's looking for the ability to be able to invest in specifically self-storage facilities. So so understanding the goal, how does an annuity fit in that process? And so
Yeah.
again, what I'm trying to connect, the dot I'm trying to connect here is the relationship between these two items, this spectrum, meaning, do I want a growth annuity, hybrid annuity, or income? And how does this spectrum relate to how we traditionally treat investment accounts like IRAs, 401ks, 403bs, TSPs, and government 457 plans? Meaning, if I've got a 401k with my employer, it's pretty aggressive early on in my age. So this is ages 25 to, let's call it, age 50. Pretty aggressive. But then
Yeah.
as I get older, we transition from aggressive to moderate, I'll call it, and basically slowing down the risk or reducing the risk inside of your account. And then when it's time to take income, we flatline and the 4% rule kicks in. So if you look at this spectrum as it relates to an annuity and what it is you might want, it actually follows this performance. And this is what I mean.
Can you make it
Retirement phase,
bigger?
I'll make it bigger. The retirement phases look like this. Again, from 0 to 50, we are in the accumulation stage. What that ultimately means is we are in the midst of growing our retirement. So, this is where, if you have a financial advisor and the market happens to crash, your financial advisor goes, "Hey, don't worry about it because you're in this phase. You have time. You have time to recover. So, just continue buying because the market's on sale. I get it. The market crashed, and I get it. You lost 30% of your account, but it's going to be okay because as we continue to accumulate, the whole objective during this period is just to buy more, build as much as we can. Unless you're in that 45 range where you start to look at your account and go, wait a minute, I don't have the time to be able to accumulate.
Right.
I need more security. I need more protection. So during that 50 to 65 range is where we talk about the protection. And then the distribution phase is, hey, I'm approaching that retirement age and beyond, and I want to focus on how much I can get out of this vehicle. So depending on where you are in this range determines what type of annuity you should have. So should it be an aggressive growth focused annuity? Should we be protecting the growth? You're still focused on growth, but protecting what you have as well. Or should we be mainly focused on income and how we're generating or creating this annuity? Which brings us to this visual. And as we kind of build and grow and talk through annuities on this channel, what I'm going to spend most of my time on is probably these two: growth annuities and income annuities. That hybrid strategy, meaning the hybrid strategy is really more of an annuity where, yes, I want to focus on its growth, but I do need at least the opportunity or the availability to have income when I need it. And so I will probably spend most of my time here. Most of the people that I meet with are in this range, right? So 9 times out of 10, I'm going to focus my attention here. And there will come times where, I'll have that client who is either in retirement or approaching retirement, and they have a fair amount inside of their retirement account, and they don't need it immediately, but it would be nice to be able to have some type of income to assist as they, focus on whatever that retirement age might be. And then at some point, we have to turn it on and produce that income from this point forward. So these are probably where I'll spend most of my time. My point in sharing all of this is all of it speaks, all of it talks. The relationship between the target date fund and how you are very aggressive initially, and then you start to become less aggressive and slow things down until you grind to a halt. Also follows how retirement functions in most vehicles. And it also speaks to the type of annuity we should be focused on. So, my point is, all of this tracks.
Okay, and this is so that those who want to use their qualified dollars, those who want to safeguard themselves against the loss. If you watch the retirement gamble, which if you've been here for a while, you know that's like that's a what was it cult classic? It's in my
basically.
cult classic list at this point, because it talks about the people and where they were in their retirement planning journey when the 2008 crash happened. For the majority of those people, even though they felt like they were in that protective state, because of the amount of loss, things that they had no control over, right? They
Right.
did not have the time to recover. So they never actually recovered. And because there's such a risk there. I think understanding what you can do in the process, but also like what are the risks for an annuity? Not just the market, but there's also risks for everything, right?
Right, right. And again, we will peel back those layers in a vehicle like this. So this is really a more of a high level view because the question that I received consistently, again, this over the last probably 2 weeks, again, about four different clients or so, was should it be an annuity? Should it be a SKIA? Should it be a self-directed retirement account? Like which one makes sense? And so what I just wanted to throw up here was a few bullet points to kind of help you as the person whether trying to identify what you should do. As I wanted to share with you what it is I look for. So from a secure compound interest account, it's um, are they currently saving brand new dollars for retirement? Meaning, hey, I've got this job, I've got my company's 401k, and I'm reducing what I'm putting into my 401k from the max down to what my company matches, which means now I have this cash flow. Or I've done velocity banking and I put myself in a much more positive cash flow position. So I've got this freed up cash flow and I need to put it to work. I need for my money to go recruit more employees for me. So if you are saving new dollars or you have new dollars that you want to use to focus on generating wealth, then a secure compound interest account might be for you. Maybe you've got a non-qualified money that you're just looking to contribute, such as cash and savings, a brokerage account, a liquidated asset. There's many different items out there, but that's where I usually take a. And so for this gentleman, using this example, he makes $100,000 a year, and his objective was to be able to put away 12% of his income. 12% of his income would be $12,000. $12,000 divided by 12, that's $1,000 a month. So the objective was to be able to put away $1,000 a month into some other vehicle. And then if we're talking about a self-directed retirement plan or an annuity, like which one, a SKIA, a self-directed retirement plan or an annuity, well, that's where do you have qualified money like a previous employer's IRA, 401k, 403b, TSP? Do you have some old qualified money sitting there collecting dust that isn't really doing what you hoped it would do or what you was expecting it to do? Or has it been sitting in these mutual fund stocks and bonds and not performing the way you wanted them to perform, but you do have access and being able to move them because they're not with your current employer? And what if you can't qualify for a SKIA?
Right.
What if, for whatever the reason is, whether it's medical, whatever the condition might be, maybe it's age, you can't qualify for a secure compound interest account. So you've got this money available, and you hear us talk about the power of these accounts. Is there another vehicle, another opportunity out there for me? And then the last one being maybe you have more non-qualified dollars than what you can actually fit into a secure compound interest account. Now, how is that even possible? Well, all of us have this thing called max insurability. And so you can't qualify for more life insurance than what the underwriters assess you at being able to have. And the general rule of thumb is a multiplier times your income based off your age. So for this gentleman, he's 45 years of age. He makes $100,000 a year. The multiplier that we use for those in the range of 40 to 50 years or 49 years of age, 40 to 49 years of age, that multiplier is 30. So if he makes $100,000 a year, his max insurability is $3 million. Well, in order to achieve $3 million of life insurance, what can you contribute? Well, if the multiplier times the 30 is his income, 100,000 times 30 is $3 million. That means the max he can put inside of a policy is $100,000. And so maybe he has more non-qualified money than the $100,000 that he's able to put in. So we would maybe look at another vehicle that maybe he could populate to be able to produce. Am I making
Yeah.
sense?
These are all good options to have, but it's also for people with good problems, right?
And that's where it's sitting down and having a conversation around what's the goal, because maybe it doesn't look like you have the same good problems, but when you sit down and peel some of these layers back, maybe you are velocity banking away from having some of these good problems. Maybe you are 1 second position HELOC away from freeing up enough cash flow to put yourself in a position to where you can front load a SKIA, or, maybe you didn't realize that you could actually access that previous employer's plan, that you had moved to your employer, not knowing that, not having any other options. Well, guess what? You could probably go back to paying benefits and say, you know what, this $85,000 that I moved from my previous employer into this plan, um, that basis is still mine, and I'm looking to move it. So again, that's where we get on a call and kind of peel back some of the layers around what some of those opportunities might be.
Yeah, that's that. And again, it may not even be for you. It could be for somebody that you know. It could be for
Right.
your parents or somebody else. There was I was watching some videos about annuities just to see what the word on the street is, because I'm seeing a lot of them. But my favorite place to go is in the comment section. Always, like, we knew that, right? We already knew that. So I'm in there and somebody was like, how are you supposed to, like, let's say you get stricken down with dementia. How are you supposed to manage your retirement portfolio, or even be aware of the person who is managing your portfolio or your funds, if you have like some of these issues where you're not even really, you're not there?
Right.
And that really had me thinking, like, this guy was in the comments like, yeah, all this information is super great, but what I'm dealing with right now at home is a parent or grandparent who, I don't know who it was in his family, who I'm dealing with this. I am seeing in real time that he could have known all of this information and none of it would even matter anymore.
Right.
And I think that's where being educated really matters, because in the moment where you need this information, you have this information and you're armed with, even if it's just the questions or things to look out for, at minimum, you are aware of what these things are, and you don't feel so vulnerable when situations can already feel vulnerable as it is. Now, you had mentioned, what if you don't qualify for a SKIA, for a secure
Hmm.
compound interest account, particularly MPI plan? But what if it's not even offered in your state,
Right.
right?
Right.
For some people, they're dealing with that the state mandates are forcing them to only have access to certain vehicles. And they're going, well, what do I do? Pack up and move in this market? I,
Yes.
I can't. Yeah, but some of them are going,
Easy to say, right?
I don't want to do that. Right,
Right.
exactly. So I think this is another reason where, does it necessarily apply to me? It could, depending on where you are at in your journey to your goal. I think the journey to the goal part is the reason that when you were talking about that, brought this up for me. I know I'm chatty. I'm almost done, you guys. Okay. The point is that when somebody calls you and they say, this is my goal, right? So this is what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to do this. That's the conversation that I usually overhear you go, okay, let's walk that back through it one more time to make sure that I understand it. Because what I actually heard was, this is your goal. So does it matter if you do this, then that, or does it matter that you can move the goal up faster, right? Yes. So this or that, velocity banking, once I free up the cash flow, then I'm going to start building wealth. Where if they were to do the math and they were to consider the and factor, they would realize that they would be in a much better place if they used the word and
That's
instead
it.
of or. So having options and being able to see them through, doing the math forward, I think that's where the power is, regardless of the puzzle, how your puzzle pieces fit together, what vehicles or tools fit into your puzzle, right?
Right. It's interesting you say that, because one of the many calls that I received was related to a gentleman who, his exact words was, you know, people have been trying to force annuities on me. And I said, well, as I started to peel back the layers, I had to apologize during the call, because I'm not going to force an annuity on you, but I think I understand why annuity keeps coming up. And when I started laying out the criteria around, here's where you are, here's where you're trying to get to, here's your time horizon, and here's what you have available, to me, this is a great option for you. But here's the problem, and this is my problem with this industry, the life insurance industry, that is. There's thousands of annuities out there. So how do you know, or who can you trust, or like which ones are the right ones? And I
Yeah.
think that's the challenge. That's why I wanted to again walk through that scenario around, there's the key areas are growth, hybrid, income. Like just start there. So from an education perspective, just understand, which one of those are they talking about? Meaning, am I 78 or 62 years old, 68 years old, and someone is pushing a growth annuity on me? Or am I 68, 62 years old, and someone's saying, you know what, we need to focus on making sure you can generate the income that you want? So I think it kind of starts there. So you're spot on with all of that,
Well,
which kind of
thank you.
leads me to the next slide of, and again, I'm not going into a whole lot of detail here. I'm just sharing with you a snippet of what this might look like. And that is, with a growth annuity, for a gentleman around the age of 45. Again, we're only taking 100,000 of the 200,000. That is because we're taking the other half, that 200,000, 200,000, he has 200 available. We're going to take 100 of that and put it into a self-directed 401k. And the other half, the remaining 100, we are going to dump it into a growth annuity. And again, a growth annuity is a one-time contribution into the vehicle, and then he's going to allow 20 years for that vehicle to compound. So again, any fees associated with this product already included. And so it's just one lump sum dollar amount that's contributed. And if you notice, this is a basic growth annuity structured around about 10%. And I would say it's an indexed growth annuity, so it's a specific type. But this 10% growth, I'd say, is fairly basic, meaning this is not difficult to receive. You do have to, I'll call it, weed your way through a large amount of annuities to be able to find it. But what we've done is really spent the time to kind of dig into what are some of those vehicles that make sense. And there's probably 3 or 4 annuities that I will focus my attention on when we kind of walk through this in 2024. But the bottom line is, this is a basic index growth annuity, taking that $100,000 and just letting it compound. The other thing about annuity is, he wanted control. So the reason we didn't put all $200,000 into this bucket is because he asked for control. One thing you do not get, and one thing you will not have with an annuity, is any control over what you can do with this dollar amount. It is locked for that, whatever that annuitization or annuitized period might be. Now, there are annuities that will allow you to take some withdrawals. Free withdrawals is what they call it during this period. This isn't one of them because it's focused on growth, but the bottom line is that option does exist. But take a look at what that $100,000 does in that 20-year period. Again, if you were to dump this same $100,000 into the Vanguard calculator, this number would be probably somewhere between 6 and 700,000. So about a $300,000 difference is what happens inside of a growth annuity like this. And let's be clear, a indexed growth annuity index implies there's some play in the market. Well, this indexed growth annuity is structured very similar to the secure compound interest accounts that we talk about, meaning there is a play in the market through the form of a call option within the index. I'm sorry, not the call option. There is a play made within the index, and there's many different indexes that can be chosen, but the bottom line is very similar. And most, if not all, have some type of floor, whether it's a 0% floor, a 2% floor, a 3% floor, which also means there is a ceiling. As we've discussed with our secure compound interest accounts, what does having a floor or having a ceiling do? Because the assumption is it impacts your ability to grow. But what it also does, it reduces the ability to lose, if not eliminate the ability to lose. So I go back to the wealth equation. The way you grow dollars inside of the wealth equation is you reduce or eliminate the risk. So a properly designed annuity with some form of a floor will allow you to be able to produce secure uninterrupted compound interest. The only piece missing from a vehicle like this would be the leverage part. I've yet to run into an annuity with leverage. And the last piece is, okay, once you have made it through that 20-year period, how do we get income out of this? We would have to move. The idea is if it's a growth annuity, 9 times out of 10, this annuity is not efficient enough to be able to produce income. It can, but it's not efficient enough, meaning the income produced out of a fixed growth annuity isn't as good as some other annuities. So, what we would do is at the end of this 20-year period, move this dollar amount into a vehicle where at a minimum we can produce 8%, which would allow us to beat the 4% that traditional retirement accounts offer. And again, I'm not sharing much detail as to what this vehicle would be. My point is they exist and we will walk through them, because the ability to be able to achieve at least 8%, and I'm calling 8% very modest, the ability to achieve 8% in income on an annual basis is absolutely possible. So
Man,
go ahead.
anybody who saw how Dave Ramsey just annihilated the guy who works for him, who said
Mhm.
8% was what you actually needed, because the 4% is just it's not going to give what it needs to give for income for you, which I don't know who is arguing against that in this day and age. Like, I think we just need to get rid of that. We need a new Trinity study. This Trinity study was what, 1994,
Yeah, something
1993?
like that. And here's the problem. There is a new Trinity study. You want to know what the results were? How about 3.5%?
No, we don't need that. Who's mathing over there?
No. And you and I
They
follow a
need
lot of these channels that talk about it. When you look at the rate at which the cost of things are increasing, what's happening is we're not making the income, and the goods and services are way more expensive to include buying a home, that is impacting our ability to be able to save what we need. And remember what the Trinity study is focused on. It's focused on making sure you don't run out of money. So what is it? What is the max you can take out of your account just to make sure you don't run out of money in retirement?
so you
It is
could
going to be
starve.
less than 4%, because things are more expensive, unless we put ourselves in a position to where we can outperform the 4% rule.
No, I don't like it. So you could starve, you can not be able to go get medical care, you can not have your needs, you can not survive. That's fine, as long as they've done the math so that you don't run out of money. Now, I do see channels that cover like how to retire on X amount of dollars a year, something significantly low, like welfare numbers, right?
Mhm.
Like how to retire on that and have a good life, like van life, live in a tent. We're loving it. Join our community of tent retirees. And this is, for some people, this is a choice. This is what they want to do. Well, that's not what everybody wants to do. If you're working really hard and you're used to living in a house with at least four walls, right? At least two doors. If you're used to living in a space like that and you worked really hard so that when you stopped working, whether you had to stop working or you chose to, that you can continue that lifestyle. That was the whole point. That was the entire point. We are being priced out of so much, and there's a lot that we can't control. But what we can control
Right.
is how we prepare and how we plan. And this may feel like overshooting for some people. That's fine. I would much rather be overshoot and be prepared for the things that I cannot control than to try to assess what is just enough, the bare minimum effort, and find around that I played the F around and find out game and I found out.
Right.
Yeah, that is what everyone is playing right now, and I think it makes for great content, right? It makes for panic situations where people need solutions, and then people are out there going, "Oh, look, I've got the solution," or it's going to be get in here and start planning for this so that we can be chilling by that time.
Right.
And everyone that comes from your family is also okay and their needs are met, and whatever the the pooling of assets or resources needs to look like so that everyone is okay. Those are plans to make today, right?
Right.
And that's where I'm get so upset when I find out like the criteria around some of these things, and these experts are touting these stats and the research, and it's like, who's mathing over there? We need their names. We need names. We're taking names at this point because it doesn't make sense. Make it make sense.
No, I
Either we are surviving or we are just doing math project. Like Jimmy had an apple, and he gave Sarah 3/4 of his apple. How much does Jimmy have left? Jimmy doesn't even have enough to eat for lunch. Okay, that's the point. But the answer that they want to focus on is he has a quarter of an apple.
right.
Well, who cares? Who's eating a quarter of an
That's not
apple and
enough.
feeling full? Yeah, that's
Right.
the point.
Right.
That's my math, okay? And that's the math that we actually have to focus on is it enough? Who cares what the number is? Can we focus on the fact that Jimmy needed that apple, and so did the other person. They need a whole apple to eat. Plus more food, okay? Not just the apple.
Right. Which is why this is not, is it this or that? It's
Right.
peeling back the layers to understand where the income and where the revenue and where the funds are located, and then understand how we can put them to work, how we can send them out to go build and create more employees. And so in this case, this again, just to recap, 45 years of age, $100,000 in income, putting away $1,000 a month inside of a Skia. I can
Yep.
pull up the calculator with no problem. But if he was to put away $1,000 a month for the next 20 years, he would end up with around $72,000 tax free for the rest of his life. For the growth annuity, if he was to take that $100,000 and let it compound inside of a growth annuity for the next 20 years, there's that $923,000 is what he would have accumulated. And again, I can show you where an 8% return or 8% in income is a feasible and more than not likely opportunity to be able to achieve outside of an annuity like that once it's grown, and that ends up being about 74,000 in income. And then the last piece is he wanted to be able to invest in non-traditional investments. So we took half that IRA, that remaining 100,000, putting it in a self-directed 401k. This deal right here is exactly what was offered in October for the self-storage facility that was being built in Scottsdale, Arizona. And the
Okay.
return is 12% annually, 1%. I think it's paid out in 1% increments every month. And then once it's 80% full, they sell with an additional 20% on top of that. And so if you just simply do that math, and usually these investment opportunities around self-storage are 18 months to 3-year contracts. And so if you just do that math around 3 years, 12 grand a year, which is $36,000 over 3 years. And then when it's 80% full, we sell another 20, and it's 80% of, I'm sorry, when it's 80% full, we sell, you get an additional 20% of what it is you invested. So if we invested 100,000, 20% of 100,000 is 20 grand. So 36,000 plus 20 grand, $56,000 in 3 years. Imagine compounding that for the next every 3 years, you did something similar in a similar vehicle or taking advantage of a similar opportunity over the next 20-year period. What would that turn that $100,000 into? So again, these are just three pieces of this puzzle. There are many different ways to 10. You could make the argument, well, what if I just took the tax and penalty hit on $200,000 and put it all into the secure compound interest account? We can have that discussion. What if instead of putting $100,000 in an annuity, take all 200 and dump it into that investment opportunity in self storage? We can talk about that. Or doing vice versa, putting all 200,000 into an annuity. Like again, it just depends on what your goal is. And again, based off the criteria that he had listed, based off the rules, I called it, as far as how he wanted this money distributed, this was to me the best equation to be able to accomplish that. So it's not a this or that. It's not one of these or two of these. It's why not take advantage of all of them.
Yeah, I do agree with the don't put all your eggs in one basket, but I
Mhm.
also think that not all eggs go in the same recipes, right? Like there's y- I was going to put another food analogy in here.
Scrambled
You don't use
versus
brown sugar for all recipes, right? You don't. You don't
trigger
you
alert.
Yeah, you don't do that. And you don't use white sugar for everything. And you don't say, use, I'd rather use white sugar because there's molasses in the um, recipe, because anyone knows that brown sugar is sugar and molasses. By the way, holiday recipe sites, they need to know that because I ran into that a lot. That's where the trigger alert came from. Point is that I get the diversifying part, and I get that there are certain things that fit in certain places. That's the important part. However, we do have some questions because I do think you should talk more about self storage opportunities, because I do think that it is a good opportunity. Two,
Well,
why is it a good opportunity is a whole other discussion. Why are these self storage facilities blowing up? And if you drive around, you know how when like you buy a red car, now all of a sudden you're seeing red cars everywhere, right? You never saw so many. Wow, look at all these red cars. That's how I feel about self storage since we jumped into that industry a few years ago. It's like everywhere we go, I see them popping up everywhere. They're being built all over the place. And there is a reason why this is not just a lucrative industry, but why there's such a need for this industry, right?
and it's only going to get worse because,
Yeah,
again, you and I follow a lot of the same people. And as people are unable to buy a home, that means they're renting more. So as the more and more they rent, the more and more they need places for their stuff and their things. And
yeah,
yeah, this is absolutely an industry that's going to continue to grow.
yeah. Seeing
And why don't I
people are
talk more
here.
about investment opportunities real quick?
Hmm.
It's because I am not a financial advisor. I'm not a tax attorney. I do not give financial advice. I can't tell you what to invest in. What I'm walking you through are examples of, or my opinion on, different investment opportunities. Now, if there's something specific you want to talk through, we can absolutely do that. But as far as me offering investment advice or telling you where you should put your money or anything like that, that's not something that I can do.
Well, because you talk a lot, you go to these events and you show them how to structure themselves properly so that they can
That's the
free up
part.
their funds, right?
That's the part.
Well, you could talk about your deals, your experience with these deals though, right? Would you guys want to
Absolutely. And
hear
that's
that?
kind of, but notice, if you notice the details around the self storage opportunity, doesn't that mirror someone else's?
Yeah. We need a sound effect. All right. Are you done with this slide? Do you want me to go back to just me and you? Or you got
Sure.
more?
I was just putting it up there if anyone else, because I think this is a pretty powerful slide, because it's not a this and that discussion. It's absolutely a this and, I mean, it's not a this or that discussion. It's absolutely a this and that.
Do you have more to cover here?
That's it. I'm all done, sweetheart.
Okay. Well, that's about annuities and my rants on my feelings about things. And I think we have some questions that we're going to cover, but I would love to hear more about what you guys have taken from your understanding of where these would fit in, because having the education around traditional vehicles, I think a lot of people hold on to those nuggets a little stronger because they're traditional vehicles. Where we have learned is if you're doing things the way that everybody else has been doing them, then how are you going to yield different results, right?
Right.
And so the scary thing is jumping into these industries where you may not know a lot of people doing these things, or some of them might be kind of new or new to you, right?
Right.
So therefore, it may feel like, well, at least if I'm talking to people and I go, yep, 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 I've got my money here and I've got my money here, I get that nod of approval, right? Like, oh, you know what you're doing, sounds smart. If you were to say, oh, I do these other things, non traditional investments, people are like, wait, what? I don't know. So I don't know if this is the where you are having these conversations, you know, some sports event, or where you go and hang out with people and have these conversations. But I know that they go down because, of course, I see them all the time, right? I see where people talk about this stuff.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's just to flex. Sometimes it is really to educate or to get better understanding of where people are, the decision or the decisions that they make, right?
Right. Mm.
So We do have some questions. I want to get to them, but I do want to understand where people are in terms of understanding what annuities are or what they thought annuities were and where they fit into the picture of a portfolio or options, at least, right?
Yeah, and I would love on that note, because this is something that we're going to dive more into as as we jump into the new year. So if there's questions out there, or if there's lingering questions out there that what, no one's ever addressed this part of it, share it. I'd love to jump into it because there's a lot that I don't know about annuities. And again, what we talk about on this channel is what we are doing, not what we think you should do. As it relates to an annuity, though, we do not have an annuity. So this is a subject matter that I am learning more about and I'm becoming more educated in so that I can assist the people that I'm working with. So I have still a lot to learn in this area as well. But here's what I can tell you in short what I've learned about this is of the thousands of annuities out there, there's maybe three, maybe four that make sense. And the fact that we have to weed through all of this nonsense to get to three or four annuities that may actually financially make the right amount of sense to be able to invest in, to me, is sickening. And I would say that's the immediate thing that I've learned in my journey. So
Yeah. Well, that's what we're all here for. And I say this a lot, and when I'm talking to other people, I emphasize the part about getting self directed and emphasize that how important it is to educate yourself on the process. It is so easy. And when you are educated about something, when you go to someone and they're assuming that you're not, because the majority of people are not, right?
right.
So everyone is going to assume that you're not. You learn so much about people when they assume that they have more information than you do, and they assume that your role in this exchange is not to get educated, is to allow them to do, and you're going to let them, right? The
Mhm.
second that you start to see all these red flags, like, wait a second, now you're assuming that I'm stupid. Now you're assuming that I don't know what it is that you're doing. How powerful would that be if we had that kind of knowledge on our doctors, on all of the people who we have to go to and rely on them to be respectful of the process and be responsible with their position, right?
Right.
I think this is a topic that we can, because we do have control and we do have decision making power. We can control the things that we can control, the things that we cannot, market conditions, those types of risks that are there. We know how to prepare ourselves, or at least how to avoid them, how to not put ourselves in that position anyway. Some people like it. Some people like get rush, the dopamine hit from that. So if that's you, do you. Like, I'm not judging. I'm just saying the majority of us are not trying to. We don't want the smoke. We don't want it. We don't want. We don't want the smoke from the market. Miss us with that. Okay, Roderick says, how secure is this, a growth annuity?
Yep, and I think growth annuity is such a large bucket, right? So, and that's why I go back to the thousands, and so which means there's probably hundreds of growth annuities. So, how secure are the hundreds of growth annuities? And I think that's the part. It's it's all about structure. So growth annuities are a life insurance based product. So it's almost like saying how secure is an IUL? How secure is an MPI plan? It's about as secure as one, the company that it's with, and the structure that you put around it, so that you have the right levers to be able to be pulled so that your money is not in jeopardy. So specifically, what I'm referencing is a fixed an index annuity that also has a floor and a ceiling, very similar to a secure compound interest account. Meaning, the reason we use the IUL we use for a secure compound interest account is because of that 0% floor, which means there's a contractual guarantee that says you can't lose the money you've put in it. Well, there are growth annuities that are designed just the same, that have a similar floor. Either it's a 0% floor, or it might be a 2% or a 2.5, 3% floor. Regardless of what it would be, I want the security of knowing the money that I put in, I can't lose. And any growth on the money that I have, I can't lose that. So to me, the way you define that security is about the structure of the growth annuity itself. So
Well, that's a great answer. Look at Roderick's face in this photo. He was smiling before he asked this question. Now he's like, eh. It looks like, how secure is this? Is it? That's funny.
really though,
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's hilarious. Okay. I'm here for the shenanigans and we will shenan again. Okay, here we go. Jeff, for those who have a current 401k and can't in service transfer, is it best to stop contributions and start a new self directed 401k or keep making contributions to the current one and roll over when you're 59?
that's a lot. There's a lot there. So for those who, and you mind leaving it up for me too?
Yep.
For those who have a current 401k and can't do an in-service transfer, is it best to stop contributions? Um, I don't know those if those two go together, because maybe you might have a company's 401k that does amazing. So do you stop contributing? Not necessarily. Maybe you contribute up to the match, meaning take what they are offering to you, and then you redirect that other dollar amount elsewhere. And now, if you stop contributing up to the match, and then take the money that's left over, that's going to come to you as brand new income. So if it's brand new income, I would say that there's other vehicles out there where you can put your money with that additional cash flow that you have outside of a qualified account. Um, but now, the starting of a self-directed 401k. So what does that mean? Well, starting of a self-directed 401k implies that you have a business. So because you want a self-directed 401k doesn't mean you can just tomorrow start one. There has to be a business involved with that start. Think of it this way. The 401k that you currently have with your employer, how did it come about? Well, the company that you work for gave you the option of being able to tax defer money into another vehicle. Well, who sponsors that vehicle? The company that you work for. And any income you make with that company that you work for, that income is what's allowed to be able to be contributed into that 401k. Because notice, none of us can take money out of our savings or money from a HELOC and dump it into our self-directed or our company's 401k. And a self-directed 401k works the same way. Meaning, and if you have a self-directed 401k, it implies that there's a business. And if you're contributing to that 401k, then it implies that there's income being generated by that business, and you're able to tax defer, or even if you wanted to put it in as a Roth dollar amount. But the bottom line is the income that you make from the business that you have is what you're able to contribute into that 401k. Now, in addition to that, you can then transfer from a previous employer's plan the dollar amount you have into that new qualified account. So again, I just wanted to make sure all of that was clear, because there's a lot in this statement. And then, or keep making contributions to the current one and roll over when at 59. And you're right. At age 59, you now have control over your retirement account with the company that you work for, with exception. So most companies, even though you're over the age of 59 and you still work for that same company, they won't allow you to take anything more than what you've contributed into it. So they will allow you to then take your bases out and redirect it, self-directed, put it in an annuity, whatever you would want. But any match, any growth that has happened inside of that account, very few employers will allow you to touch that at age 59 if you still work for them. So I would just say touch base with your pay and benefits just to confirm what is available to you in a situation like that. So yeah, Jeff, there was just a lot in that question, so I just want to make sure I broke it all down. So any other questions, sweetheart?
Yes. Yes, there are other questions. Rose has a good question. Brenda was saying that all she had heard of were annuity, indexed annuities.
Mm-hmm.
And here's one thing that I find really interesting. If you're out and you're looking for, there was like Mythbusters type content that I think was trending. That's why everyone was doing it. And when you look at the myths around 401k, the way that they are proving that the 401k is not a scam is by saying that you're investing in the S&P 500. They are always using the S&P 500. Well, yeah. Okay, but that's not what everybody is.
Right.
If everybody was only investing in the S&P 500, but at the same time, it's really difficult to hear an argument against MPI, a SKIA like MPI, when what they're using and what they're leveraging is the S&P 500, right? And the reason why I bring this up is because we're talking about indexing. We're just talking about indexing. And so how this is leveraged in different vehicles, clearly there's a thread, indexing thread through a lot of these vehicles. And it's because this is a strategy that has been working. This is what we have, people. There's be different strategies or different options as we go along. I hope so. I hope we do have new things that come along because we need the system to work better for all of us. Everyone's feeding it, right?
Right.
So we should be eating off of it too. So that's where I'll land the plane there. Okay. Rose says, how many Roths can a person have and what are the rules around having more than one? This goes with Jeff's question.
So Roths can be Roth IRA, Roth 401k, Roth TSP. So there's many different. So all Roth is a condition of a dollar. So can the traditional dollars that I have in whatever the retirement vehicle is, can I convert those traditional dollars over to Roth? The answer is yes. So if you have multiple 401ks, multiple IRAs, a 403b, and a TSP, all of them can hold Roth dollars, which means all of them can build money for you tax free. How many can you have? It's really less about the quantity of vehicles. It's really more about, meaning it's less about the number of vehicles. It's more about the quantity in the vehicles. And so here's what I mean. IRAs, the max you can contribute is what, 6,500 and 7,500 based off your age. And then in 2024, the contribution limits are increasing. Yay, by $500.
Woohoo.
So you can have multiple, but remember, there's a maximum that you can contribute into them anyway. Self-directed 401k or 401k in general also has a limit on what you can contribute, but those limits are much higher. As of today, what is it? I think it's 26.5 plus additional 43.5 in 2023, and that's increasing as well in 2024. Where I think if you do the math, it's somewhere around $69,000 if you're under the age of 50 is what you're able to contribute into a 401k. And 401ks are tied to a business. So how many businesses can you have? Infinite. Can each business have its own 401k? Absolutely. Does that make sense? I think it depends on the individual. I'm a fan of having a parent business, and all of your other businesses are sub businesses under that one parent, and then you link your 401k to that parent business. And so now all of the incomes from all of those businesses roll up to one 401k, and you're able to contribute the max inside of those. I'm more of a fan of that, but you can really do this any way you want. So you can have as many retirement accounts as you want. I think the other limit that I will highlight is if you have multiple businesses, 9 times out of 10, if you have an IRA, you're going to be limited to what you can contribute because IRAs have an income limitation, whereas 401ks do not have an income limitation. So I think that's the other variable. So just again, to just flat out answer the question, how many Roths can a person have? It depends on it depends on the situation, but there's really no limit on how many of these accounts you can have. And I think one other example I'll give to that is, you've got people out there who have worked 10 different places in 10 different years, and each one of those jobs had a 401k. That means there's probably 10 different 401ks out there. So
Dang. That's a lot of 401ks.
it exists.
Yeah, it does. And there's like Beagle, there's a service now, Beagle, to help you find and track down because people have so many out there that they lose track. So let's say you can't say that Donnell is not thorough with his answers. This man leaves no crumbs. Okay. He sopped it up with a biscuit. There is nothing left. Cleaned the plate. He definitely does. That's funny, Celeste.
I met with the guy today. I met with a guy today, and here's the interesting part. One, he does look like me. Two, he's 50. And three, he goes, man, forget what they say. I love the fact that you're long winded because I'm long winded too. And I was like, wait a minute, you just called me long winded. And I think he's right. I am. I wouldn't have thought that. Like when you ask me questions, would you say, again, privately, would you say I'm long winded
At home,
at
like
home?
your personal, how you
Absolutely.
your personal vibe,
Absolutely.
I'm constantly trying to pull the words out of you. I'm like, can you say more words about that? Because I just need to know more. That
So to be
answer,
called long winded to me
right.
is just quite interesting.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting.
So now thanks to this live streaming opportunity, guys, I now get to say, no, give me a let me ask like I'm on the live stream. Let me ask like I'm in the chat.
Right.
Give me that answer. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but I appreciate that, and I think people do appreciate that you give such thorough answers. Yes. Long-winded could just also mean that you're just wrapping off and giving analogies like me. But I'm chatty, I'm different, and a little petty. That's why I'm, you know. Veronica says, having a 401k from a previous employer, is it easier to get or start quicker the self-directed 401k if you have a 1099?
So two different things
It's a
there.
great question. Yeah.
Amazing question. So let me ask the last half of it first. Answer the last half of it first. If you have 1099 income, you absolutely should be structured with a retirement account. And having 1099 income is a business. And to have a self-directed 401k specifically, you can have 1099 income, an S corp, a C corp, or an LLC. So there are four different ways that you can have a self-directed 401k. So um, start quicker. I would say, yeah, it's probably pretty simple to be able, at least if you're working with me, it's pretty simple to create a self-directed 401k. It takes like 3 to 5 business days. Really depends on if the IRS is shut down, which they currently are from now till the second. So that becomes a little bit of a challenge. But bottom line is it normally takes about 3 to 5 business days to create a self-directed 401k. So it moves pretty quick. And then having a 401k from a previous employer, that will allow you to then transfer that previous employer's plan into your 401k. And just to kind of further peel back, what is my role in this process? I create empty, checkbook controlled retirement accounts. So when I create this for you and I pass it back to you, there's no money in it. And then, so the way you get money in it is one of two ways. And this all in this question right here. One is the business that you have, that 1099 income that you're making, you're able to put income into it from there. The other way is you're transferring a previous employer's plan, penalty free, tax free, into that 401k, regardless of the dollar amount.
Hey. Okay. Let's go with Brenda's question. That was a great question, by the way. And now that
Well,
sparked other people that are like, hey, let's jump on this. Brenda said, is a tax deferral benefit the same for each business 401k IRA?
um, I want to make sure I'm clear as to tax deferral benefit. The ability to defer taxes is the same regardless of the vehicle. How much of your income you're able to defer is the part that's different, meaning contribution limits for an IRA are different than contribution limits for a 401k. The benefits the same, but how much is different based off the vehicle that you have.
Well, I'm going to throw flag on the field for that answer because he likes it when I try to use sports references because I don't watch sports. Because of UBIT.
The tax deferral benefit, yes. UBIT. Okay. So
Yeah, do we need a huddle about this?
no, what we
Because
have to do, what we have
see
to
what I
do
did
is we
there?
have to peel back the layers around. We have to define the goal.
Yeah.
So there has to be so Brenda, if your goal is to be able to leverage your previous employer's plan to be able to invest in real estate, then this is absolutely a comment that my wife made. It's absolutely something that you have to take into consideration when trying to identify what vehicle works best, especially when it comes to the tax benefit. I won't use tax
Hmm.
deferral, but just tax benefit in general.
Yeah.
And so now I got to lay it out.
Let's get into it.
You started it. So So let's say you wanted to invest in real estate using your self-directed retirement account, whether it's a self-directed IRA or self-directed 401k. And I'll make up a random number. Let's say you've got $50,000 in the account, whether it's an IRA or 401k. We're gonna the analogy or this example is gonna identify or talk through both. So you've got $50,000 in the vehicle, and you're looking to purchase a property that costs 100,000. So obviously you're $50,000 short. So how do you bridge that gap? Well, you can bridge that gap many different ways. You can bridge that gap through a friend, a business partner. You can borrow money from a bank. Most people don't realize their retirement accounts can actually borrow from a bank. And it's borrowing in this form of what's called a non-recourse loan. So for this example, let's say your IRA that has $50,000 in it borrows $50,000 from a bank and then takes that $100,000 total, buys the property. And at the same time, I, who have $50,000 as well, but I have a self-directed 401k and I borrow the same 50,000 from the same bank and take the same $100,000 and buy the property across the street. So we've both made very similar investments in the same place using um, retirement vehicles, but one is an IRA, one is a 401k. Other than that, the process is the exact same. Well, because you used an IRA, a self-directed IRA, to purchase that property, and because you borrowed 50% of the purchase price, again, you had 50, you borrowed 50, bought the property for 100. 50% of the purchase price was done with a loan from a bank. And again, I did the exact same thing. Well, when those properties sell, and let's say they sell for $200,000, in your IRA, you believe you just made $100,000 profit. And now obviously you have to pay back the 50,000 that you owed the bank plus interest, but the bottom line is it looks like you made $50,000 profit. Well, UBIT, unrelated business income tax, UBIT comes along and says, "Hey, because you used your IRA to buy this property and you borrowed money from a bank, meaning you used leverage to buy that property, we're going to come along and tax 50% of your profit." Why are we taxing 50% of your profit? Well, it's because you leverage 50% of the purchase price from a bank. So we're going to come along and tax 50% of your profit at 35 to 37% just because you used an IRA. Whereas had you used a 401k like I did, 401ks are excluded from UBIT. So not only did I do the exact same thing, meaning my $50,000 borrowed 50,000 from a bank, that $100,000 purchased the property, we sold that property for 200,000. My 401k just made $100,000 profit. I am not hit by UBIT, meaning I'm not hit by this 35 to 37% tax just because I have a vehicle that allows me to be able to do so. So, sweetheart, to your point, is the tax deferral benefit the same for each business in a 401k or an IRA? Depending on the goal, it is not.
Right. But,
Or let me rephrase this.
okay,
Sweetheart, you were right.
give it up. We love it. We love to hear it.
We love it or you love it.
We love to hear it. Me and my people in the chat. We love to hear it. Okay, here's why I really appreciate that I could even throw that in, right? Because I'm learning. I've been learning over the last few years what you do, and because we had our own lanes, right? Just like most couples do. I did what I did, and he did what he did, and we've been coming together on a lot of things, especially since we've been live streaming, of course, but even before then. So here's why this is important, because we hear so more often than not, but so many people who contact you or even visit the website, because we're on the first page of Google for a reason, right? For 20 years. Part of the reason is because they are looking for information on self-directed accounts to be able to get themselves properly structured. Well, that's where they find the blogs, right? But if you were to type in self-directed IRA, we're not on the first page.
Right.
Right?
And why?
Yeah, every bank is on there. Well, the reason why is because self-directed IRAs are low-hanging fruit. Do you want me to
They're
keep
easy.
going?
No, that's fine. They're easy. They're cheap. And the other part is you need banks to have a self-directed IRA or an IRA in general because they're just glorified savings accounts. And because you need banks, they get to charge you whatever they want. They get to nickel and dime you to death. You go to make a transfer, they can charge you a fee. You go to transfer balances, charge you a fee. Write a check, charge your fee. There's your most accounts, most self-directed IRAs, most IRA accounts are riddled with fees, and 9 times out of 10, you don't even know the fees are there because they're just nickel and diming your account. Whereas with the 401k, 401ks are trusts. 401ks have the structure to where they do not require the assistance of a bank. Now, obviously, you will have your money with an FDIC insured bank, hands down, but it's not required. And because it's not required, it places you in a position to be able to negotiate those fees. And if you partner with the right company, you can absolutely get a self-directed 401k void of custodial fees.
The way they are cheering for me for my sports references in the chat right now, I am here for it. They're like, what color was that flag, Angelique?
Right. Silence.
Moving on. This just in, the flag had no color.
White flag, because I give up.
White flag. It was green for money. That's what it was.
There we go.
All right. Veronica says, having a nope. That she already asked that question, right?
Mm-hmm.
401k, Roth or not, has to be associated with the business. We need a future discussion on what makes a business so I can establish a self-directed 401k. You're
But
in luck.
let's do it real quick though.
Yeah.
Can you sell products on eBay?
Yes.
Can you open up what is that? The Facebook marketplace? Yeah.
Etsy?
Can you go into your closet and identify a pair of boots that you know what, I can't wear these anymore. So you know what, I'm going to put that up on Facebook Marketplace.
Or what?
Do you participate in rideshare?
Yeah.
Like
Poshmark.
or how about what is it? What was the wrap? What's it called? The wrap, the multi-level
MLM.
marketing. What's the name of it though?
It
Come
works.
on.
It
Works.
It works. Gosh, why you gotta bring that up?
Trigger alert.
I tried them. It actually doesn't work. All it works only if you do. Okay, you got to put that work in. Oh my gosh.
So World Ventures. So if you're part of an MLM,
yeah,
that actually can be used as a business, and you can absolutely, because you have a business, you absolutely can have your own retirement account associated with it. So there's a lot that constitutes a business. I think the moral of the story is when you file your taxes, do you file a 1099 for that work that you did on Facebook Marketplace or that MLM or World Ventures or the rideshare? If you're filing a 1099 um, um, uh, during 1099R, I believe is what it is.
yeah.
If you're filing a 1099R on your taxes for the year, then you have a business and you have the ability to have your own retirement account. Obviously, we can absolutely dig into what makes a business a little bit further, but the moral of the story is there's a long list out there. And we should all, I don't care if you have multiple W-2 jobs, we should all be taking advantage of the tax benefits of just simply owning a business. And the example that I usually love to share as it relates to a business that maybe it's not making a whole lot of money. I have this client, or this is years ago, I had this client, one of my first or initial self-directed 401k clients was a gentleman who taught kids how to box on the weekends. And the rent for the gym was $50 a month. And so his goal was just to charge enough to be able to make that rent of the gym, the weekend rent of the gym, which is $50 a month. So his objective was to not make more than $50 a month. That $50 a month was sufficient enough for him to have a business. And that business is what allowed him to have his own self-directed 401k. He moved those funds into that self-directed 401k, and that self-directed 401k now owns its own gym.
Yeah.
Pretty powerful.
Yeah, it is powerful. And for some people, they, instead of just buying things, like if you prefer to buy natural cleaning products from one of those companies, and you can sign up as a rep to get the discounts or whatnot. And even if you're buying from yourself and you get a commission from that, That counts. It all counts. As long as it counts on paper, it counts for this.
Mhm.
And for some people, they create a business and then they know, like, I am structuring myself to be able to leverage these strategies. So it's not that you have to go out and, get a chain, sign up for a company or start a huge business. That's not it. You just need to be able to make the income, and uh, just book a call with Donnell, and he can really, whatever it is you're thinking about, then he can walk you through what the rules would be and what that needs to
Mhm.
look like, right?
Yep. And I think something that's also important, it is December 27th.
Yeah.
If you are thinking about um, whether or not you should have an IRA or 401k, now is the time to actually at least get that process started. Because if we can at least get the process started before the end of the year, you actually have till April of next year to fund your self directed retirement account for the year of 2023. Meaning, if you want to reduce your taxable income on your business, you have a few days to be able to at least get the self-directed 401k started. It's all we need to do is get it started. It does not have to be in place. And then you can use the next 3 or 4 months in 2024 contributing your 2023 income to it to reduce your taxable income before you file your taxes. So this is also a perfect time to be able to, and I don't know why I didn't lead with this. Actually, this is what today's live should have been about, is, hey, we're approaching the end of the year, so here's an opportunity to get yourself properly structured so that you can roll into 2024 in a position to be able to take advantage of these opportunities and reduce your taxable income for 2023. I don't know why we didn't think about that.
Well, we did that a couple weeks ago, actually. That was the that was the topic. And growing up Jamaican
Was I
has,
there?
yes, you were there. It's,
Tell me,
this
man.
whole month has just gone the past, I'm going to say 3 months. Do you guys just feel like it just flew by crazy fast? He says, I have a 1099 and a self directed IRA. Can I put contributions before I pay 2023 taxes?
So the 1099 has really nothing to do with the self-directed IRA. You have a self-directed IRA that you can make if you're under the age of 50 years old. You can contribute your $6,500, and assuming you don't make more than, I want to say it's 130, $140,000 a year, you can contribute to that IRA. So you can do that with no problem. Your 1099 income, though, you can actually open a self-directed 401k in addition, and in doing so, so can you do that and make contributions and put contributions from your 1099 income into that self-directed 401k for 2023? You absolutely can, but you are running out of time to get it created. So if that's something that you're wanting to do, I would suggest you text me, sweetheart. If you wouldn't mind putting the phone number up, I suggest you text me, and text me your handle and your name and email address, and I will email you some information to help get you started if that's something that you're wanting.
Yep, there it is. Selfdirected.info. We try to make it really easy to remember. You want info
So no, that's fine.
on
So
how to get
the key for me is the
self-directed?
phone number. If you text me at the 602-560-7311, because I think it will get to me faster. If you text me, I will absolutely take care of that.
Uh,
But it's all good.
I'm
It's
trying
all
to.
good.
Here we go. You can also go here. Aha. To
There
look
we
for
go.
the one that wasn't the ticker type.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We have more questions. Is
Mhm.
there an age limit to open up a self-directed 401k? Ander Fawn.
No. The key to opening up a self-directed retirement account is the business. Can you be 5 years old and have a business selling stickers to your classmates?
We had a 5-year-old
You
hustling.
absolutely can. And that business can own its own 401k. So is there a limit to open up a self-directed 401k? There isn't. The criteria to open up a 401k is you have to have a business.
One of our kids really did take a folder to school, and he had like a whole club with a sign up sheet and the whole thing. And I was like, boy, if your parents aren't entrepreneurs, you know what I mean? There was no bigger sign than how he was slinging those little things out the treasure box on recess. Like he had a whole business going on. We had no idea.
Did you just make a drug reference to stickers?
No, I was saying like this was his side hustle.
Slinging them things.
slinging them things. Yeah, them little erasers, man. He was like, you won't believe how how valuable these erasers are out here. He was like, they go crazy for these erasers. Okay, so we did that. We did that.
Hmm.
I think there was another one. Trying to catch up, guys. You know, I. All right. Well, anywho, I think if you have a question, put a Q in front of it because you know I can't say very good. So that helps me at least eliminate that. So if I missed anybody's question, my bad. That's on me. And that's okay. You can always text us. We'll put it back up here. You want you can always text us here.
Hmm.
Whatever this says, just pay attention to the phone number. Here we go. There we are. Just pay attention to the phone number. I think it's time that we spin for a boat.
Yep,
Do you have
let's do
anything
it.
you want to say?
And what I'll do is I'll scroll back to that'll give me an opportunity to go back through the comments and I'll see if there was anything that was missed as well. So yeah, let's give away a boat. Let's end the year right. Get out a boat or two, and let's
And
get out of here, sweetheart. I'm hungry.
for those who are just tuning in and missed the beginning, we had this huge announcement because our your fam came through. They were hyper aware of the fact that the story about why we give away the boat is actually becoming a movie. They've made a movie and it is in theaters now. Roderick, I think, said it was called The Boys in the Boat. The Boys in the Boat, I think, and it's in theaters now. Well, anywho, let's this is why, if you're new, this is why, if you're not, you've seen this before, but you can't see this enough times because it is so inspiring, right? I'm like Ted Lasso out here, so inspiring. This is why we give away the boat because you can't unsee it. I think you see this boat, and if you win the boat, if you have it in your home, then you already know. Every time you see that boat, you ask yourself, will it make the boat go faster? And here is why. In 1998, a British rowing team dreaming of the Olympic gold found themselves ranked 7th. Their focus had always been on the competition day, but they realized the keys to reaching their highest potential were hiding in the decisions that they'd make over those next 2 years.
Faced with two obvious choices, continue their current path and expect the same result, or give up, they discovered a third transformative option. They united under one guiding question: will it make the boat go faster? Every decision, every action was weighed against this mantra. If the answer was yes, they could or would have to do it.
If the answer was no, it was forbidden, non-negotiable. Prior to the competition, this team was doubted and ridiculed, but no one knew what they had been doing. And once they hit the water, they were nearly unrecognizable, achieved their pinnacle, and won the gold. So we ask you,
What is your goal? What are you willing to do to achieve it?
will your story feel unrecognizable, even to you? Are you willing to light your beacon and stay focused, stay committed? Is your story non-negotiable, or are you waiting to find out how you ranked? Your financial future is not a game. You are only competing with yourself and those in the boat with you, your family and the many generations to come.
Will this make the boat go faster? A sounding alarm, a beacon of clarity amidst turbulent life decisions.
It's not just about speed, but direction, purpose, and an unwavering commitment. Every choice, every sacrifice aimed at the goal.
The first agreement this team made was to become fully self-directed, making their health their wealth, adopting a new perspective on their time and freedom, and the decisions they could fully control to reach their goal.
Will we make your boat go faster? That is our pledge to you. Our mission is to arm you with knowledge, strategies, and insights to ensure that not only you reach the goal, but you do so long before your race is over. Let's spin for the boat. Get in here, boat. All right. Get in here. All right, we got to refresh because now we got new people in here. Oh, come on. You for real right now?
Gotta log in.
I did log in. It was already up.
Yeah, I know.
Oh. All right. Well, we got a question while
Yep,
while
and
I,
I'll
while I
go
do this.
ahead and take care of that. I'll take care of the question. Is that the one
Okay.
from Eric? Is that your reference?
Yeah. Yeah, go
Yep, so
ahead.
I'll do it. All right. So Eric's question was, if I don't need any more tax breaks for 2023, should I wait till 2024, or is it still beneficial to start it before the end of the year? And again, um, needing tax breaks is one thing, but being able to contribute into the 401k for the tax year of 2023, that's another, right? And as it relates to tax breaks, if you've hit your contribution limit in your other vehicles, this 401k is on top of that contribution limit. Meaning, it's called there's elective contributions and then there's non-elective contributions. So even if you've contributed to your company's 401k and you've maxed out your company's 401k, and from your perspective, you can't get any more money into a retirement account. Well, if you had your own self-directed 401k, you could make a non-elective contribution, which would allow you to still put in the max into that other vehicle. So it's again, it's just a different way or a better way to be able to tax defer or shelter money if you need to. So do you have to? Not necessarily, but getting properly structured is the key, because what getting properly structured does is that it puts you in a position to be able to take action when it's time to take action. Versus now in 2024, I had now have to become properly structured to take advantage of that opportunity that you might see early in the year. Versus getting structured now allows you to take advantage of it when it comes about.
Sorry.
No,
Okay,
you're good, sir.
Lolo says you should spin the wheel for movie tickets. Gosh, why didn't we think of that? Who's who's producing this show? Golly, you're hired, Lolo. That's a great idea. Next, our next, what is that, Sunday? Sunday, we are spinning for tickets.
We on here New Year's Eve?
No, that is New Year's Eve.
I'm willing. I'm just saying. I'm asking a question. Really.
I mean, if you guys want to do a countdown, we won't be on for the New Year's Eve. It'll be
Right.
the evening, right?
Right.
I don't know. You guys tell us. Do you guys want to join us or not? We don't mind. We'll take the night off.
I'll be doing the same thing regardless. Laughing at my wife.
It's true. Okay, let's spin and see who is winning. All right. Who's winning the boat? Renee. Right on. Congratulations, Renee. And
And
it's spelled too.
yeah, I love it too. And there's a reason why she loves it.
Yeah.
So Renee, if you would please text us at the number that we're going to put at the bottom of the screen, your handle that was used today, but more than likely that's your real name. You text us the handle, your real name, and your address so that we can send you your boat. Yep,
Yep.
text us
We
at
will.
602-560-7311. Again, text us your handle, your full name, and your address, and we will get your boat to you.
That's right. Okay, let's spin one more time. I love spinning for the movie tickets. I'm excited about that. All right. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Hey, Zaid, you already got a boat. Let's let somebody else win, right?
How bad? How much would that suck if we were doing movie tickets and it was like, hey Zaid, you already got one. Sorry, you can't get the movie tickets either. So
Yeah,
move on.
okay, Rose already got one too.
Hmm. Hmm. Must be room for growing up Jamaican.
All right.
That's
Well,
all we're doing. We're making room for that.
we're just making room. One more time.
Hmm.
One more
One more time,
time.
let's do it. Yep.
I think we should do the tickets. That way, anybody who's in there, should do something different. Mr. Big Trouble.
I
All
like it.
right.
I like it.
I love it. I think he already won before too a while ago. We should just let people win extra boats. Give them away. Getting it. You get a boat. You get a boat. Everybody's getting a boat. We need more boats in this world.
For the winners, if you are a new winner, please make sure you provide your handle, full name, and text, and also provide your home address, and we will get the boat to you.
We sure will. And if you guys want to tune in, we'll show up. We love to hang out with y'all and talk about this stuff. We can definitely do that. So we can even have some callers calling in. Let's talk about goals. We're we're actually nailing down our goals. We're making a vision board. And here's what happened. Here's why we're doing it together this year, because we did our goals by ourselves. Do you want me to not tell them?
Doesn't bother me.
Okay. Last year we did our goals. We just kind of were talking about what we wanted, right? We did our personal goals. Fine. That's your business, boo. Do you, okay? Until I realized that we had goals about the same thing, and we were aiming in slightly different directions. Well, you already know there's some analogy that fits here, but I'm not gonna nail this one. So if you change the coordinates, the angle, right, the wind speed, like whatever it is, just slightly, you might end up in a completely different place. Speaking of boats, right, you could end up Bermuda Triangle. In fifth grade, that was like the scariest place that you could go. When you learned about the Bermuda Triangle, you were like, gosh, I hope I never end up there. You could get lost forever. It's not as big of a threat as it turned out to be, right? So the point is that you could end up in a completely different place, even just these few degrees of separation on your goals, right? And how the decisions that you're making. And what we realized was, if we are not like super focused and together on the outcome, for sure, and we are not both looking at the exact same thing every single day, then it could definitely change our results. So that's why we are doing them together. So we did them separately,
Right.
definitely did that. But now we're going to go in and we're going to drill them down for the ones that impact each other, or that we're both going to be contributing to. Sound it out. Gosh, that was hard to get out, right? Yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing. And I think that we,
I saw it too.
they're like, you know what, Angelique, just no. Veronica's like, you need to go take a nap, okay? Exactly. What happened to your boat? Bermuda Triangle. That's where it went. It was a scary place in like the fifth grade. I don't know. So get your goals together. Spend the time to get your goals together. That's what we'll say. Yeah. Okay, I'll take an oar. Miranda wants a boat. All right. Well, you know what? We'll get her a boat. How about that? We all have an oar in whoever's boat we're in, and whoever's in our boat. We are responsible for who we allow to stay in our boat, or the behavior inside of our boat, right?
True story.
So that part is important, and I feel like I'm excited to see this movie. So I'm going to get some tickets, figure out which theater it's in. If it's in a theater near you, definitely go see it, regardless if you win tickets here or not. Go see it twice. So, yeah, he said, nope, do it here. Don't take the day off. All right, well, chime in. Let us know in the chat. Jump into the group. Let us know there. We can continue this conversation. It's easier to do, of course, over in the group. And we're working on some options for those who aren't on Facebook as to where we can cultivate our community and all join together, Facebook, non-Facebook, in union. So we are looking forward to that. And all of that's coming for this next year.
If we go live Sunday, are we bringing drinks?
I'm definitely bringing drinks. Yeah. No? Maybe they're not ready for Angelique and drinks. They're not ready. Y'all ain't ready for that. That's why Donnell threw it out there. He was like, look, I need a whistle. Huddle. Let's get in here and huddle about it.
Is that another sports reference?
Yeah, it is. Lots of them. Okay,
All right,
so
let's get out of here.
on that note, we like to say, if you didn't come from a wealthy family,
You can make sure a wealthy family comes from you.
So stay focused,
Stay protected,
stay tuned.
stay connected.
I'm Angelique,
And I'm Donnell.
and our goal is to help you
Get self-directed. And Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year. And to do that, we have some free resources to help you start setting your goals. And those are coming up just a second, guys. Thanks for tuning in. This is our farewell to 2023. We will see you guys back here next week, unless we decide. So jump in the group. Let's talk about it. In the meantime, here's how you get those free resources and stay connected with us. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Hey, before you go, we want to remind you that becoming fully self-directed means gaining complete control over your wealth, time, and freedom. It's not just an idea. It's a framework, a mindset, and the power to make informed decisions to secure your future. Being here means you're taking those steps, and we want to thank you for allowing us to guide you. We believe that we grow farther and faster when we grow together. So tune in next time and tell a friend to tell a friend. We've helped thousands of people just like you start their journey to financial freedom. And if they can do it, you can too. And if you're ready to learn more, we got you. Get a head start by grabbing these 2 free books. But how do they get them, Donnell?
Head over to my website where you'll have access to a few things. A ton of free resources, case studies, and over 100 5-star reviews from people just like you. And in 15 minutes, we can explore what's possible for you. So don't wait.
Invest in what you want, when you want.
But first, let us help you get self-directed.
Self-directed.